Good morning, dear friend. Today is April 25th, and before anything else begins, I'm really glad you're here. Let's not rush this moment. Before you reach for your phone, before the thoughts of everything you have to do start crowding in, just pause with me for a second. Take a slow breath. Because if you're like most of us, mornings don't always begin in peace. They begin with noise. A list already forming in your mind. Things you didn't finish yesterday, things you're not sure how to handle today, and sometimes a quiet weight you woke up carrying, even before your feet touch the floor. It's easy to feel behind before the day even starts. Easy to feel like you're already trying to catch up. But today, we're going to begin differently. Not by trying to solve everything, not by pushing ourselves forward, but by slowing down just enough to remember something simple and steady. We're going to start with 2 quiet words. Thank you. Not because everything in your life is settled, not because you have all the answers, but because even here in this ordinary, unfinished moment, you are not alone. And sometimes the most honest way to begin a day is not with control, but with gratitude. Before we go any further, let's take one small step together. If you're able to, just write a simple phrase in the comments. Thank you, Lord. You don't have to explain anything. You don't have to find the perfect words. Let it be quiet. Let it be honest. Think of it as a small way of placing this day into God's hands before it even begins. And if there's something on your heart this morning, a worry you carried into today, a situation that still feels unresolved, you can leave that there too. Not as a performance, but as a quiet act of trust. We'll stand with you in prayer. Before we move into anything deeper, let's stay here for a moment in something simple. Gratitude. Not as a way to ignore what's hard, not as a way to pretend everything is okay, but as a way to steady the heart. Because being thankful doesn't erase the weight you're carrying. It doesn't solve every problem waiting for you today, but it does something quieter and just as important. It reminds you where you are and who is with you. Right now, in this moment, before anything else happens, you're breathing, you're awake, you've been given another day. Those things are easy to overlook, but they're not small. They are signs that God is still present, still sustaining, still near. And sometimes the shift we need isn't found in figuring everything out, but in remembering what has already been given. So instead of starting this day focused on what's missing or what still feels uncertain, we gently turn our attention to what is here. The breath in your lungs, the quiet of this moment, the simple fact that you're not walking into this day alone. Gratitude doesn't change your circumstances overnight, but it changes the way your heart stands inside them. And that's where peace begins. And as we stay in this place of gratitude, it's important to be honest about something. There are parts of life that don't feel easy to be thankful for. Some situations are still unresolved. Some wounds are still fresh. Some questions are still sitting there without an answer. So let's be clear. You don't have to be thankful for the pain. You don't have to pretend that what hurts doesn't hurt. But even in the middle of it, there is still something you can hold on to. You can be thankful that you are not alone in it, that God sees what others don't see, that nothing you're carrying has gone unnoticed, that even now, in the middle of something unfinished, He is still present. Maybe this morning you're thinking about a situation that feels heavy, a relationship that's strained, a decision that hasn't become clear, a kind of tiredness that doesn't go away overnight. It's okay to acknowledge that, but right there in that exact place you can still quietly say, thank you. Not because everything has changed, but because God has not stepped away. You can thank Him for staying close to the broken places, for holding you steady when you feel uncertain, for seeing the parts of your story that no one else fully understands. And sometimes, with time, we begin to notice something else. There are things that didn't work out the way we hoped, doors that stayed closed, delays that felt frustrating in the moment. But later, we start to see that some of those things were not rejection. They were protection. Not every no was loss. Some of them were quiet forms of care we didn't recognize at the time. So even here, without having everything figured out, you can begin to trust that God is still working even in ways you don't yet see. Gratitude in moments like this is not loud. It's not forced. It's steady. It's honest. And it simply says, Even here, I trust that you are near. As we move forward, there's something deeper we're being invited into this morning. Letting go, not of responsibility, not of care, but of the need to control everything. Because if we're honest, that's where a lot of our tension comes from. We want to understand what's ahead. We want things to make sense before we take a step. We want some kind of certainty so we can finally relax. But most days don't begin that way. And trying to force clarity too early only makes the weight heavier. So right here, at the start of this day, we choose something different. We open our hands. We stop trying to hold every outcome in place. We stop pushing ourselves to have everything figured out before the day has even begun. And we bring that need quietly, honestly before God. Lord, you see how quickly my mind tries to take over, how easily I start planning, fixing, predicting, trying to stay ahead of everything. But today, I don't want to carry what isn't mine to carry. Teach me how to move through this day without forcing it. Teach me how to do what is in front of me without trying to control what comes after. Because the truth is, I don't see the full picture. I don't know what each moment will bring. But you do. And nothing that touches my life today will catch you off guard. Even the delays. Even the changes I didn't expect. Even the moments that feel inconvenient or unclear. So instead of tightening my grip, I loosen it. Instead of rushing ahead, I slow down enough to trust. Not because everything feels certain, but because you are. And maybe some of the things I've been calling delays are not setbacks at all. Maybe they've been quiet forms of protection or preparation. So today, I release my timeline. I release the pressure to keep up. I release the fear of falling behind. And I choose again to trust your pace over mine. And as we begin to loosen our grip, we start to see something more clearly. A lot of what unsettles us isn't just the situation itself, it's the waiting, the space where nothing feels resolved yet, the stretch of time where answers don't come as quickly as we hoped, where progress feels slow or invisible. Waiting can make the mind restless. It can make you question where you are or whether you're falling behind. But peace doesn't come when everything is finally figured out. It doesn't arrive at the end of the process. It begins here, in the middle of it. It begins when your heart settles into a simple truth. You are being led even now. So today, instead of measuring your peace by how much has been resolved, you measure it by who is with you. Lord, in this space where things are still unfolding, teach me how to be steady. When my thoughts start to run ahead of what I can see, gently bring me back. When I feel the pressure of time, remind me that time is not my master. You are. When I start to believe that I need to rush to keep up, quiet that voice. Help me to move at the pace of your guidance, not the pace of my fear, because even when I don't understand what's happening, nothing is out of your hands. You are already present in the hours ahead of me. You are already in the places I haven't reached yet. And that changes how I wait. I don't have to wait in tension. I don't have to wait in panic. I can wait with a quiet kind of trust. Not because waiting feels easy, but because I know I'm not alone in it. So today, I choose to sit at your table, even in the presence of uncertainty. I choose to let peace settle, not because everything is clear, but because you are near. And as we sit in that quiet place, there's something else we can ask for today. Not just answers, but wisdom. Because if we're honest, what we often want is clarity. We want to know exactly what to do and when to do it. We want things to make sense quickly so we can move forward without hesitation. But wisdom doesn't always work that way. It doesn't always give immediate direction. Sometimes it gives you a steadier heart instead. A heart that knows how to pause, a heart that listens before it reacts, a heart that doesn't rush just because it feels uncertain. So this morning, we ask for something deeper. Lord, give me wisdom for this day, not just clear answers, but a quiet awareness of your presence. Help me to recognize the difference between urgency and your leading, between the noise around me and the voice that is guiding me. When I'm faced with decisions, small or significant, help me not to move too quickly out of pressure or fear. Teach me how to listen, not only with my thoughts, but with a heart that is willing to follow. If something is not meant for me, let it gently lose its hold. And if something is from you, give me the courage to walk in it. even if it feels unfamiliar. Because I know I don't need to have everything mapped out to take the next right step. I just need to stay close enough to hear you. So today I choose to slow down internally. Even if the world around me keeps moving fast, I choose to pay attention, to stay open, to trust that you are guiding me in ways I may not always notice right away. And I trust that the wisdom I need will meet me right where I am. And as we ask for wisdom, we also bring our relationships into this moment, because the voices around us shape us more than we often realize. Some voices bring clarity. They steady us. They remind us of what is true, but others can do the opposite. They add pressure. They confuse our direction. They pull us toward things that don't give us peace. So today, we ask you, Lord, to gently bring order to what is influencing us. Quiet the voices that compete with your truth. Close the doors that are not meant for us, even if we've been knocking on them. And in your grace, lead the right people into our lives. People who speak with honesty, not just comfort. People who strengthen our faith, not just our emotions. People who help us stay grounded when everything else feels uncertain. At the same time, we bring something else into the light. Comparison. It happens so quickly. We look at someone else's life, their progress, their timing, and without even realizing it, we start measuring our own. And in that moment, peace slips away. We begin to feel behind. We question where we are. We wonder if we've missed something. So today, we release that. Lord, free my heart from the need to compare. Remind me that I am not late if I am walking with you. I am not behind if I am following your pace. And I am not forgotten even if my process feels slow. You have not asked me to live someone else's story. You have only asked me to trust you with mine. So teach me how to stay focused on the path in front of me. Help me to celebrate others without losing peace in my own journey. Help me to trust your timing for my life without rushing ahead or pulling back. And when the pressure to compare begins to rise again, gently bring me back to this truth. My life is being led with care, with intention, and with a timing that is not random. And that is enough for today. As we continue in this quiet place, we take a moment to look back. Not to relive everything, but to see it a little more clearly. There have been moments in your life that didn't turn out the way you hoped. Doors you wanted to walk through that never opened. Paths you expected to follow that suddenly changed. At the time, it didn't feel like care. It felt like disappointment. It felt confusing, maybe even unfair. But with a little distance, something begins to shift. You start to see that not every closed door was a loss. Some of them were protection. There were places you were moving toward that you didn't fully understand yet. Situations that looked right on the surface, but would not have been right for you in the long run. And somehow, without you seeing it at the time, God was already guarding your path. So today, we say thank you even for that. Thank you for the doors that didn't open. The ones we knocked on more than once. The ones we didn't understand. Thank you for the pauses. Those seasons where everything slowed down, where progress felt delayed, where nothing seemed to be moving the way we wanted. We didn't always recognize it then, but those pauses gave space for something deeper. Space to heal, space to grow, space to realign, and thank you for the detours. The unexpected turns that disrupted our plans, the changes that forced us in a different direction. At the time, they felt like interruptions. But now we can begin to see some of them were guiding us away from places we weren't meant to stay. Even when we couldn't trace what you were doing, you were still leading. So today, instead of rushing past those memories, we hold them differently. We don't have to understand every detail to trust that you were present in them. And we choose to thank you, not only for what made sense, but also for what didn't. Because sometimes the clearest evidence of your care is only visible in hindsight. And even now, in ways we still don't fully see, you are working with that same care today. And as we reflect on those seasons, we begin to see something even deeper. Waiting doesn't just affect our circumstances, it affects us. It touches places in the heart that aren't always visible. It can leave a quiet kind of tiredness, a disappointment we don't always have words for, a sense of carrying more than we expected for longer than we thought. So today, we bring those places before you, Lord. Not the parts of us that look strong on the outside, but the parts that feel worn down underneath. The places where waiting has been heavy, where hope has felt stretched, where being patient hasn't felt peaceful at all. And we ask you to meet us there. Not with pressure to do better, but with care. Heal what has been quietly hurting. Strengthen what feels weak. Steady what has been unsettled. Because maybe this season is not only about what we are waiting for, but about what is being formed within us while we wait. A deeper kind of faith. One that doesn't depend on quick answers, a steadier heart, one that doesn't collapse the moment things feel uncertain. A quieter trust, one that doesn't need to see everything clearly to keep moving forward. So today we stop seeing this time as empty. We begin to see it as meaningful. Not wasted time, but shaping time. Not a pause in the story, but a part of it. And even if we don't feel stronger yet, we trust that something is taking root. Something that will remain long after this moment has passed. So we stay here for a moment longer, not trying to rush the process, not trying to fix what we can't fix, but allowing you, Lord, to do the quiet work inside us that only you can do. Before we move on, let me share something honestly. There have been seasons in my own life where none of this felt clear. Mornings where I woke up already carrying disappointment. Times when I prayed, and it felt like nothing was changing. Moments when the silence was harder to understand than the problem itself. I questioned things I didn't expect to question. I wondered if I had missed something, if I had taken a wrong turn, or if I was simply waiting for something that was never going to come. And if you've ever felt that way, you're not alone in it. But slowly, not all at once, something began to shift. Not because everything suddenly worked out, but because I started to see things differently. I began to realize that God hadn't stepped away from my story. He was still present in it, even in the parts that felt quiet or delayed. Looking back now, I can see moments where I thought I was being held back, but I was actually being guided. Times I thought I was stuck, but something in me was being prepared. It didn't feel that way in the moment. It rarely does. But with time, I began to understand that God was not ignoring me. He was working in ways I couldn't yet recognize. And one of the ways that change began was through something very simple. Choosing, again and again, to say thank you, even when I didn't fully feel it. Not as a perfect response. Not as a strong declaration. Just as a quiet step. And over time, that small choice began to steady something in me. It didn't remove every question, but it changed how I held them. So if your story feels unclear right now, if you're in a place where things don't make sense yet, you don't have to force clarity. You don't have to pretend you understand everything. Just stay here, stay present, stay open, and trust that even in this part of your story, God has not stepped outside of it. And as we come toward the end of this time, let's hold on to something steady. Just because you don't see movement doesn't mean nothing is happening. Just because the answer hasn't come yet doesn't mean it's not being formed. Delay can feel empty. It can feel like lost time, like nothing is changing. But what you can't see right now may be just as real as what you can. God is not limited to what is visible. He is not restricted to what you can measure or understand in this moment. So even here, in a season that feels slow or unclear, you are not standing in a gap. You are standing in a process, and that changes how you hold this day. You don't have to rush ahead trying to force an outcome. You don't have to carry the pressure of figuring everything out. Instead, you can ask a different kind of question. Not just, when will this change? But what is being shaped in me while I wait? Is there patience growing where there used to be pressure? Is there trust forming where there used to be fear? Is there a quieter strength beginning to take root? You don't have to answer that perfectly. Just let the question stay with you, because sometimes the most important work God is doing is not around you but within you. So today, we stop calling this time empty. We stop seeing it as wasted, and we begin to trust that even now, something is being aligned, something is being prepared, something is being formed. Not all at once, not in a way that demands attention, but quietly, faithfully. And that is enough to keep moving forward one step at a time. Before we close, let's take a quiet moment to speak these words slowly and honestly. Nothing in my life is accidental. Even the parts I don't understand are still held in God's care. I am not being overlooked. I am not being left behind. Today, I choose gratitude over anxiety. I choose trust over the need to control. I will not rush ahead trying to force what isn't ready, and I will not step back in fear when I'm being led forward. My timing is not random. My path is not forgotten. Even in this season of waiting, something is being formed in me, something steady, something that will last. So today, I stay present, I stay open, and I trust that God is guiding me one step at a time. Before we close, if this moment meant something to you, you can take one small step to respond. You can simply write, "Thank you, Lord, for your timing," not because everything is clear right now, but as a quiet way of trusting what you don't yet see. And if there's something you've been carrying, a situation you're still waiting on, a prayer that hasn't been answered, you can leave that here as well. You don't have to carry it on your own. We'll stand with you in prayer. As you step into the rest of this day, may you carry a quiet steadiness with you. Not a sense that everything is resolved, but a deeper assurance that you are not alone. May your thoughts slow down when they begin to race. May your heart remain anchored when things feel uncertain. And may peace stay with you even in moments that don't go as planned. May you find the strength to move forward without forcing, and the patience to wait without losing hope. And in the middle of whatever this day brings, may you remember, gently but clearly, that you are being guided and held with care. So go into this day without pressure to have it all figured out. Just take the next step in front of you, and trust that it is enough.